everyone for joining today. I'm really happy to share about farm to school advocacy. All right. So I do work for Hawaii Public Health Institute. It's a nonprofit organization, and I am a registered lobbyist with the Hawaii State Legislature. That's because I get paid to spend time talking to legislators and submitting testimony for bills at the legislature. So people who don't get paid to do that don't need to register as a lobbyist. So if you're doing it on your own time, you can. There's other just rules around that that you could look up if you needed more information about that, or we can follow up afterward. So I wanted to share a few resources today. Firstly, we have a farm to school resources website, which is relatively new. And what it has, I'm going to show you the site here. Debbie, if you want to put the link in the chat, feel free. This is a home. What's that? Okay.
Yes, I'm at
homepage, lots of different resources here. The one I'm pointing out is legislation and policy. So what this has is a link to the Hawaii Food Plus Policy website. This is a newer group that's organized by Purple Mai'a and UH West Oahu. It's a group of college-age interns that are actively tracking bills at the legislature this year. You can sign up for their e-newsletter. This is a great way to get calls to action on bills. And then we also have this beautiful 2-page document that really walks teachers through a step-by-step process of involving their students. I'll open that in just a sec, but I also want to point out the fact that we've tried to catalog the legislation that's happened over the past number of years that's relevant to farm to school. So here on the site, you can open up this document and it'll walk you through the process. We're also going to do that together today. So how you find your legislators, choose your issues, register, follow bills, and prepare testimony. This was made in 2019, so it talks about testifying in person. We no longer go to the Capitol, at least at this time, but we do testify live via Zoom. So I will share a really fun thing that just happened today on that note as well. Okay, so that's our resources hub. Next, I'd love to take you to the Capitol website. All right. So here it is. And from what I understand, we have one of the best, most accessible websites of any state. This is an amazing, amazing resource. So what we want to look at together are a few things. First of all, if you haven't already registered, this is how you would do that. Just click on register to make an account. That's how you'll be able to track bills and then actually submit testimony on them. This is another feature, find your legislator. Very important to know your legislator. So you're just gonna enter the name of the street and the zip code. This is Leahi, where Waikiki School is located. And you know, the address number is here. You can see a representative and your senator right there. Click on their name, get their phone number and their email. They want to hear from constituents. So I highly recommend that you get to know them. During session, they're quite busy. So after session, which is after May, is a great time to just start reaching out and getting to know them. Inviting them to your school for a visit of your school garden is a great idea. All right, so I wanted to show just an example of how we would submit testimony and track a bill. This is my account. I'm going to sign in. These 3 orange buttons are really wonderful. The 2 I want to point out is hearing notification. So Senate Bill 2182 is one of our priority bills. I'm going to add it so that every time a hearing is scheduled, I will get an email. And because things happen so quickly, it's great to have those coming directly to your inbox. So then I would save and exit. And then the other feature here is that when your bill comes up for a hearing, this is where you'll submit testimony. Right now, none of our bills are scheduled yet for the next committee. So I just have this example bill. You would enter the bill number. HB stands for House Bill 2024. It's just an example. It's going to show me the name of the bill, the committees it's referred to. So this is a hearing that is coming up on Saturday. That's why I'm able to see the screen. I would make sure my name is correct. I'm going to say what my position on the bill is. I support, oppose, or want to make comments only. And this is whether you're testifying as an individual or on behalf of an organization. And then, are you only submitting written comments, or do you plan to show up on Zoom to testify live during the hearing? Okay. And then either you type your testimony here, or you're going to upload a document. So I usually use a PDF and just attach it right here. Then you click submit, and that's it. So literally, if you don't have much time, but you do want to just show your support, you wouldn't even have to put anything here. You could just submit, and that shows, you know, who you are as an individual or org, support, oppose, boom, done. So it can be very, very quick in that sense. The next thing I'd love to show you is our bills flyer. Okay, so the Hui, we are a statewide network. We have an active legislation and policy circle, and we every year look at what bills are out there at the legislature that are relevant to farm to school. This year we chose 18 bills that are all about farm to school, and right now 15 of them are still alive. So you can see I have a revised date down here. And we've tried to tell you what the themes are: school gardens, school food. Over here we have updates to our Farm to School and Farm to State Acts that were passed last session. This is requesting funding for a agriculture education coordinator at the University of Hawaii, super important. And then encouraging school and community gardens. We also have a grant and aid request to the legislature, which people can submit letters of support for, to continue the rat lungworm disease prevention through education project. So that's our flyer that we'd love to give you access to. This is a quick story before we move on to our activity, but here in the highlight is Tyler Levine. She is 17-year-old member of the Hawaii Youth Food Council, which is also convened by the Hawaii Farm to School Hui. And she is co-leading a policy committee of the Youth Food Council and has been submitting testimony for the council and then showing up to testify. This hearing happened today. Here's the chair of the Senate Agriculture Committee, Mike Gabbard, and the chair of the Higher Education Committee, Senator Donna Mercado Kim, is over here. She provided testimony on this bill, Senate Bill 2959. This is the CTAR Agriculture Education Coordinator. And she and I have been working together. It's usually great to prepare a written statement that you're actually reading, just because it can be a little nerve-wracking to testify on Zoom in front of these folks. This is her fourth time just in the last week testifying, and she blew it out of the water, like just amazed everyone there. And I've seen it in person and now on Zoom, how attentive legislators are to youth. They are so happy when young people show up to speak. Senator Gabbard said he got chicken skin several times as she was talking, and then she had like 4 different job offers from these legislators. It was amazing. They were just blown away by her. So it matters to involve our youth in this effort. Lastly, before we break out, this is one of the bills that we are advocating for this session. It's actually two bills because they're called companions. But it would fund a school garden coordinator in the Department of Education, Office of Curriculum and Instructional Design. So for your awareness about why we think and hope that you'll agree this position is important. These are just for the many reasons, but it would help implement the farm to school program in DOE by accelerating garden and farm-based education for all students. That's one of the purposes of the farm to school program, which was officially established last year by the legislature. Just supporting increased use of outdoor learning spaces, coordinating professional development and resource development and sharing, and really assessing the needs and supporting improvements for garden and farm-based learning across the department. So once again, just very briefly back to our Capitol website here. As I mentioned, Senate Bill 2182 is this bill. I'm going to walk you quickly through this. So if you want to access the bill itself, you could either click this or the PDF and read the whole thing. This is a relatively short bill. It talks about why it's important and then what would be done if this bill passes, which essentially is strictly to provide funding for the coordinator and the program. So typically section 1 of the bill is background information. Section 2 is what the bill does. And so it appropriates out of the general revenues. This is sometimes blank, the money committees fill it in. And that's the bill. You can see here who introduced it and what committees it's referred to. So it's already had an education hearing and it passed. And now it needs to be heard by WAM. So that's the Ways and Means Committee. And we might need to call the chair's office, Senator Dela Cruz, and say, please hear this bill. This is the companion. So the other bill, if you make yourself hearing notices for these, is House Bill 2013. So this one is in the House. These are the identical bills, but it's good to have both moving forward. So it's already passed education here and needs to be heard by the Finance Committee here. So I hope that was helpful and we can do our activity.
Thanks, Lydi. Oh,
yeah, thanks so much. And not just for the excellent presentation, but for all your work that you're doing in the legislature as well to advance this forward. Let's do
This is Lillian. I have a quick question.
Mhm.
Lydi, you said 15 bills are still alive. So which 3 bills are no longer with us? And why do you think they got tossed out?
Yeah, thankfully they are not priorities. They have a companion that's still alive, or one of them combined the UH and the DOE positions, and we weren't in favor of that one moving forward. So, yeah, they are listed in our bills tracker Google sheet
Okay.
as a separate tab. If you want.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lydi.
Thanks, Lillian. Yeah, are there any other questions? You might have. I think there was a question about age requirement for registering or any other requirements. Do you know, Lydi?
Not offhand, so we need to find that out.
And Tyler's 17.
Mhm.
So she submitted testimony. So you don't have to be 18, clearly.
Also, what I've seen an elementary school teacher do was have her students write letters. She scanned them and made one PDF with all of the letters in it, and she submitted it. So you can-
Right, so our new director of community civic engagement at Yale followed up on that. And apparently the rule is 1 submission per person, and that the legislature actually wants each child to register, which I think all of us should really have a conversation about how that isn't practical, and in some cases would be really difficult to pull through. It forced us at Yale to create a policy, which we did, which is nice, informing parents when a student is submitting testimony. And for particular bills like the OHIA bill right now, those chairpersons allowed us to submit them all together. So you'll notice in that one, there's a whole string of them, but I think it just depends on the committee chairs, is what we were told, from that end. But yeah, right. So the question is, under 18, they can submit testimony, but right, and you don't have to be Hawaii State residents. That's what I was just confirming all that. Thanks, Natalie. And I think it really comes down to the policy at your school, like checking with principals, administrators, and making sure that it's appropriate. And then let's see. I just had a quick question too, Lydi. If you check the box that you're only submitting written, but then a person is able to then show up and be at the hearing, do they allow the person to speak if there's room in the schedule, or how does that work?
Yeah, they often ask, does anyone else want to testify? But in terms of getting the Zoom link, you probably would need to contact the chair and the vice chair's office. Because when you do sign up to testify by Zoom, the way that you get your Zoom link is you go back into your account on the Capitol website, go to the testimony button, and then next to that green section where you've submitted all the testimony, it says join. They don't email you a link. So you have to go into your account, go to testimony, and then click join. But like you said, if you hadn't signed up, I would reach out to the chair and vice chair's offices of the committee where it's being heard.
Great, thanks. And let's see, any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Lydi, do you want to lead us in this activity, or shall we?
Sure.
I can show the Jamboard.
Okay.
Because this follows along with the bill that or the 2 bills on one, the companion bills that you'd like us to discuss, correct?
Right. So I'm putting a link to the Jamboard if folks want to jump on that. Basically, there are 3 different slides where we invite you in small groups to put up some points. So how is this coordinator position important to you in your role? I think, me as a statewide network coordinator, I'm very interested in hearing how, if you are a teacher, what is your perspective on why this role is important to you? And of course, in the various roles that people play who are here, informing from your perspective why it's important. We can think together about some key talking points for testimony. Maybe you already have them, but I really also appreciate, Wendy, how you had us think about being in the garden and what we would bring to a testimony, from our personal experience at the heart and the owl levels. And how will you engage your students in writing and submitting testimonies? So would love to have you take this time to think about those things, to share your perspective, and hopefully this is part of you taking the next step to testify and engage students. Thank you.
Great. So everyone has the link. I want to jump on it before we set up our rooms. And should we do 2 breakout rooms? Kind of become a smaller group. What would you like to do?
In the breakout rooms, our plan is just to talk about this at a smaller level. So we would just be stimulating conversation about what would be important and why that would be important to you as an individual or as a teacher, or your perspective. So 2 breakout rooms, I think, would be ample. That's fine. We could almost I think we just lost a couple individuals.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so 2, and it will just go automatically. Let's see.
All right. And how long do we have, Deb?